New on Curiosity Stream.
I'm James Burke. I'm going to take you on a journey through time.
James Burke's visionary series returns, reimagined for our time.
Now, this is all uncharted territory.
The Washington Post hails Burke as one of the most intriguing minds in the Western world. The New York Times raves he careens from one great moment in history to another.
Where do we want to go from here?
Experience all new connections.
So what's the next connection?
With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
You probably know the feeling. Sweaty, fast breathing, quick heart rate. That's a cortisol spike. It feels awful, and its imbalance is the cause of your anxiety. Rebalance Health's 3-part anxiety system helps address it at the root. Rebalance Health lozenges are natural and designed for optimal absorption, providing 24-hour relief. Live life fully without feeling like you're fighting for it. Get 50% off your first month with code CALM23 at rebalancehealth.com.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. Hi, everybody, Alibiers. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi Fruit Loop. What you know?
Did you know that the guy who invented Comic Sans, the font, has only used it once?
Are you serious?
I hate that font.
I do too.
He's only used it one time.
Yep.
So there you
Interesting.
go. It'll be on Jeopardy.
We're early today because we both got some stuff to do.
Yep.
I'm going to run some errands for Grammy. I'm going to go. This is my my great grandmother's high school ring from 1930, but it broke. So I got like some Flex Seal on it. So I'm going to go get it fixed. And then I'm having a pool day with my kids.
So my cousin is in from Tokyo. He lives in Tokyo, and he's come in for a week. It's been like 3 years since he's been here because of the travel bans and stuff with COVID. They have been closed, so he could get out, but he couldn't get back in. So now all that's lifted, and so he's here. So we got family stuff this evening.
I love Roddy and Monaco. Tell them I said hello.
It's just him.
Oh,
he came by himself.
Well, tell Roddy hi.
So I will tell him.
Yes, cool dude. So we're gonna jump back into this. And I'm still working through interviews after the fact to pull things that are relevant, kind of in foresight, if that's a word. By the way, we had a listener who said you can be excommunicated from the LDS Church as many times as you've been baptized.
Wow.
So I guess you keep trying.
So I was going to say, I wonder what that process, when y'all reach out and tell us, so it's cool. But, like, do you have to reapply, or I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure some people, we have great listeners who always are happy to. And somebody corrected us also. It's not Hermosillo, it's Hermosillo.
Hermosillo.
So sorry, Detective Hermosillo. We love you. Didn't mean to butcher your name. All right, so we're going to start with Melanie Gibb. And I thought this was kind of very telling. You know, we always talk about the love bombing and how do you get people to follow you? And Melanie Gibb said she had this personality, talking about Lori, that kind of feels like Velcro. She just takes you in and she doesn't let you go. And at first it's kind of cute because she just dotes on you and she buys things, but it's so manipulating and deceiving. But I never had that experience being deceived by or manipulated by a person, but she would take care of you, saying like, oh, I need to go get this for you. Oh, you should do this. Always telling you what to do, but kind of in a fun way. And so she just had this way of making you feel like what she was saying was true, because she'd give you amazing experiences that she had had, and they sounded very believable because she was really good at telling you what she would hear from the other side of the veil or what her experiences were in sacred places.
Yeah, so it sounds like she just starts manipulating from the beginning.
Yeah, and you know, it's love bombing, and it's very intoxicating to people who need that in their life. And so, you know, there you go. That's how things like that. So we're going to start her talking to investigators, explaining about Julie Rowe and how she came into this and all that. So she said Julie Rowe did not know about the zombie thing. That all came from Chad. Either her or she named someone named Eric Smith, who is a big follower of Julie. What? What are you laughing
I'm
at?
just laughing. Like we went to school with Eric Smith, but isn't that like just a name that a lot of people
That
like?
is a very common
Very
name.
common name, Eric Smith. Yeah,
So all you Eric Smiths out there, we're only talking about one of you, and you know who you are. All right.
exactly.
So he was a follower of Julie's, and according to Melanie Gibbs, she thinks that he came up with the multiple probation idea. That's what she had heard. It could have come from this Eric guy, but she didn't know if that's true. But he did write a book on multiple probations. So someone in Julie's inner circle contacted Gibb and they were comparing notes, and she would hear things that Chad had told Lori that seemingly came from Julie Rowe. Melanie said that Chad had some power over Lori sexually, and a girl said someone did that to her in this energy work group. And Melanie says that's why she doesn't do energy work.
Wow. Odd.
I'm
So it's
trying so
almost like
hard.
it sounds like a watered down. Like Chad took some of this from Julie and da 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 da,
Well,
and this
yeah,
guy
and
and that
some from some
guy. And
movies, and and
oh
just
man,
created all this
man.
nonsense.
So Chad was a part of that group, but he broke away from them because he was getting tired of Julie. When Chad and Lori first met at St. George, he said, "I am done with Julie Rowe. She texts me all the time, and I'm done with her." Now remember, she was over his house too.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
And she was good friends with Tammy, apparently. And, I think Emma at one point on an
yeah,
online forum defended Julie. Said she was a good person and, had gifts and talents. So she was highly thought
yeah.
of in the Daybell house.
Yeah, exactly. So the investigator asked if she thought Lori took instruction from Chad, and she said yes. He asked if Lori would do anything without Chad's authorization, and Melanie said, in the beginning, Lori said she felt Chad gave her the priesthood, and he told her she was married to Moroni. Melanie said he would have confirmed her little things at one point. Lori said Chad was good at getting revelations, so she would just go to him because she wasn't as good at it as she used to be. And Melanie uses the example of text investigators have seen of Lori asking Chad, "Is this person dark? Is that person dark?"
Can I just say, if you guys see smoke flowing past me, I have incense burning back here. I didn't want you to think my house was on fire and I didn't know it.
I don't see a waft of smoke.
Okay.
I don't know.
I do out of the corner of my eye. I'm
Uh,
like, these people are gonna think I'm up to something in here.
that's your hot coffee. It's that McDonald's hot coffee. So they ask about Melanie's relationship with Melanice, and she says Lori raised her partially, so she is kind of like a mom to her. She doesn't think Melanice was into it in the beginning, but she said Lori focused on her for some reason, and Lori went after Brandon for some reason. She would say he's gay, he's this, he's that. She would build these stories up, and she would look at a pic of him and say, he looks gay.
Oh my gosh, that's so ridiculous.
But it's like she set her in her sights and was solely focused on getting her.
But you see, the thing is, Brandon had that life insurance policy, and if you remember, it took a while for him to get her off of it. You look
Yeah.
at Charles, he had the money. Brandon had the money. Brandon made a very good living, obviously. Brandon's got a ton of money now from that defamation suit he won. But I'm
Yeah.
sure it was money motivated.
But if you think about it, look at the kids' lives that she destroyed doing that,
Yeah.
I mean,
man.
it's anything at all costs. It doesn't matter who I hurt and who I step on. It's what I want. So,
And Brandon was so lucky to, for Alex. I mean, look, we don't know how the kids were murdered, but Charles was in close proximity to Alex when he was murdered, but he missed Tammy Daybell in the driveway and he missed Brandon. So apparently he's a pretty crap shot.
yeah. Yeah.
But look at what would have happened had he hit Brandon, 4 kids without a dad. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's horrible. So Lori thought she could do all this because she was such a high level. She said Melanice was exalted and had been married to Peter, and Brandon was in opposition to her. Lori put all of her energy into Brandon. Melanie said, thank goodness Lori didn't put all her energy into her.
Melanie Gibb.
Yeah. So detectives find audio on Lori's iCloud from November 17th. 2018 of this speech. He claimed to be a visionary after a near-death experience where he jumped off a cliff. We all know that he tore something in his head and all that jazz. But he said his spirit separated from his body and he had contact with dead family members who were in heaven. He said this event is what led him to become an author. There's audio saved on Lori's phone from the Preparing a People event. Dude, there's no telling what's on all that stuff.
Oh, I mean, this is why I can't wait for trial, because this stuff, everything Rexburg has, we have no clue about. And you're talking about all the communications when the kids are murdered, when Tammy's murdered. There's going to be so much. So apparently in November of 2018, they went together to another upper room of the temple, and Moroni gave Lori to Chad. The Savior was there, and they believe they've been married in other probations. Lori has lived on 21 planets and Chad 31. And apparently once he was the Holy Ghost. Oh my gosh, Chad.
I don't know why I just went to that movie with Steve Martin where he's a traveling evangelist.
The Leap of Faith. I was telling my oldest she needs to watch that soon.
Yeah.
So Chad has lived. That's so funny. Chad has lived 5 times on this earth, and Lori has lived 4. So, and also around this time, Chad makes a portal in Lori's closet so she can visit him. So Zac Cox, who I adore, I think he's precious. That's Lori. That's actually Lori's nephew, her brother Adam's son, and also Charles's nephew. He lived with them from December 17 to about January of 2019. And he did a couple of interviews, and one of those was with Justin Lum from Fox 10 Phoenix, one of our favorites who covered this case. And he said in 2017, after Lori and Charles moved from Arizona to Hawaii, he went there for spring break with his dad, Adam, and Colby. Everyone went to do something, and so he stayed back home with Lori. And she talked about Chad's books and some other books that apparently are really controversial in the LDS church. And she also talked about Julie Rowe podcasts. She said some scary stuff sitting there with JJ and another cousin of theirs. And Lori said something like, if you watch an R-rated movie or say a bad word, there's an evil spirit screaming in your face, encouraging you to do bad things. I did bad things last night because I watched an R-rated movie and I probably cussed. So when he moved in with them, Charles was always going on business trips and Lori would always go to the temple. So Zac would help take care of JJ and hang out with Tylee. It really seems like he was close to Tylee because later in that interview, some things come in after Charles was shot and he breaks down and he cries talking about Tylee. It was, I've seen pictures of them. They just look like they had the best time together.
Yeah.
So Alex,
that kind of connects a little bit of, because we always wondered, while she's doing all these things, and we knew Tylee watched JJ a lot, but that makes sense as well.
Yeah,
he was there.
So Alex gave Zac Chasing Paradise, which is one of Chad's books, and told him if he read it, he'd give him $100. Alex said the book was written by heaven and delivered in glowing white pages to Chad's doorstep. Zac said he needed the money and took the book, but he didn't read it. You go, Zac.
So Zac said mentally Alex was always off and was weird and easy to manipulate. Lori told Alex he had talked to Jesus face to face, and Alex told the bishop. Lori would get mad at Alex because he would tell these things to other people. And she said it made her mad because she knew it sounded crazy. He noticed when they would be in the car, they wouldn't listen to music. It would be a Julie Rowe podcast or another one with some guy named Mike Stroud. He said the podcasts were outside of the church. Zac talks to Charles about her changing beliefs. She said she didn't have to eat or go potty, and this was towards January of 2019. Like, how? She went to the bathroom.
She ate too.
Yeah. I mean, those things. So if she's saying that, like...
Dude, if I lived there, I would be calling her out every time I saw her come out the bathroom. I'd be like, what you doing in there?
Exactly. Sheesh. So Charles and Zac talked about her new beliefs and how neither one of them believed it. Charles said it makes her happy. She's taking care of JJ, living a regular life, believing these things. Zac said they never thought it would get as big as it did. Charles said, just nod your head and keep her happy. He said once she met Chad in October is when it started changing. After the big argument with Lori and Charles, Zac said he was packing to move. Lori asked Tylee to go pick up JJ from school and take him to do something fun, so Zac went with her, and they took him to eat and to a movie since JJ liked to play in the kids' area of the theater. Gibb came over to help her pack stuff up.
Yep. I think right now is a good time to take a quick break and talk about our sponsor for the week.
So our next sponsor has a product that is amazing. I started taking AG1 because I wanted to start focusing on getting a daily routine that is healthy and also affordable.
Athletic Greens was created when the founder experienced a ton of gut health issues and ended up on complicated supplement routines to recover, which cost him $100 a day. So he created Athletic Greens after experiencing how difficult it was to create an optimal nutritional routine on your own. That's why Athletic Greens only cost less than $3 a day. That's less than a Happy Meal, y'all.
Exactly. So not only is it affordable, but it's also lifestyle friendly. Whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, Athletic Greens contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. On the Athletic Greens website, there's a cool smoothie recipe that I tried, and it is what the world good.
All right, so right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's only 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health.
To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free, you heard that, free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/whattheworld. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/whattheworld to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Discover unbeatable deals and convenience at your neighborhood family fare supermarkets. Score exclusive deals, earn rewards, join clubs, and clip digital coupons for extra savings all in one place. Our exclusive offers bring savings straight to your card. Explore a wide range of local products that support your community. With easy pickup and delivery options, saving time and grocery shopping has never been easier. Family Fare is all about making your grocery experience easy and affordable and your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. Family Fare in your neighborhood.
All right, back to it. So we're talking about Zac. This is around the time in January where Charles comes back in town. Lori's like, we're done.
So he came back and went to his grandparents. So Zac went to Barry and Janice's. Zac asked to stay, and they said yes. He went to sleep and woke up to text from Charles about Lori going crazy. He said he didn't text him back, and he regrets it.
Yeah, and you can see physically just how his body reacts to talking about this. Look, there have been times we haven't texted people back. Listen, me and my grandma were getting x-rays for her because she had taken a tumble. She declines a call from my great uncle who's around her age, who at that time was laying on the floor because he had fallen. I mean, you just never know. You don't think like this text is so important. I get it. And he's a teenager. He's a kid.
Yeah. And this is a time where they had hid Charles's clothes and all that stuff. So he says when he called Charles back around, Charles had found the clothing behind the food storage.
Yeah, and he says he was in a tough spot and wishes he had done more. He said everyone immediately took Lori's side, just the whole Cox family, not Adam. Adam and Brandon were being watched by Melanice as far as talking to Charles. I guess she would report back if they were in communication with him. So Zac said he would text and call Charles when he was out by himself, and he actually did this up until the point Charles was murdered. Zac said Charles told him everything Lori was accusing him of doing, ironically, is what she was doing, which was having the affair. And Zac was also on a podcast called The Followers, Madness of Two, and said Lori during that time was really at the temple almost every day like a full-time job. He said, I don't have any empathy for Lori or anyone that thinks she's brainwashed or that she's not at fault. When talking about Chad, Zac said, I don't think Chad is charismatic enough to brainwash anybody. And I think he's right.
Yeah.
For some reason, they wanted to be together. What'd you say?
I was going to say, but think about it. This is coming from someone, we don't get to see that from Charles because they murdered him.
Right.
But this is coming from somebody inside the house. We don't get to hear from Tylee. We don't get to hear from JJ. But this is coming from somebody inside the house that was it was an eyewitness to everything going on. And he says that if you think she's brainwashed, you're crazy.
And we mentioned that a few episodes ago. You watch all these police interviews, she lies with the welfare check. She flat out lies very convincingly. So and Zac said at one point Lori was like a second mom to him. So he had a front row seat to the unraveling for sure. But he thinks they just want to be together, the chosen ones in this apocalypse. They wanted insurance money to go live in Hawaii the rest of the days until they thought Jesus came back to earth. So this podcast was actually broadcast back in September of last year, but Adam said regarding Lori, apparently she's still in the same state of mind she was in when all this stuff went down, believing she's chosen. Her and Chad are chosen for the second coming. And Adam says, if she says, well, I'm not going to tell you where the kids are, he said to him that meant the kids weren't alive. He said he knew right then and there the kids were dead. And he said, I told everybody the kids weren't alive. And he said when it came out that they had found the kids, the whole family was shocked. But up until then, Lori's family believed the children were just hidden somewhere in Hawaii. So December 4th, 2018, Lori does her first podcast, Time to Warrior Up, with Melanie Gibb and Jason Mao. And Jason explains on that podcast how he met Lori at the temple and they had an instant connection. And he knew she was a gatherer and had to connect her with Melanie Gibb.
So investigators note in a podcast in December of 2018, Lori says suffering leads to salvation. And even though she doesn't want her kids to suffer, she understands they have to in order to see the light. Dude. Sheesh. December 5th, 2018, Lori, Gibb, and Chad do a joint podcast on Time to Warrior Up. And it's mostly end time stuff they talk about. I want to make a point here because I know last night we read it and it hit me later on. So Jason Mao, says he didn't know some of the stuff they were doing. And I think that could happen because I know the way our podcast runs, like you could do one and if I'm not paying attention, it could be put out there and I would never know it.
Yeah, there are times where we both do solos and to be honest, I don't re-listen.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that, I think that's possible that could have happened. So mid-December 2018, Julie Rowe told Inside Edition in June of 2020 that Chad sexually assaulted her during a private meeting. Multiple women told Inside Edition that Chad had predatory behavior towards women. And this comes after he allegedly made an inappropriate comment to her over the phone that October.
Hey, I just want to clarify this timeline. It was a little confusing. So she said it happened in mid-December 2018. She gave the interview in June of 2020.
In 2020. Yep.
Yeah.
So Julie said this happened during an energy healing session and meeting with him. She said he forcibly kissed her, got on top of her with his clothes on, and rubbed his genitals against her. She said, I had no idea that he was going to do what he did to me, and I felt very betrayed. I felt used, abused, manipulated. It was awful. She didn't report the incident to police. She said she thinks Chad used his spiritual gifts to lure women in. Rose says, I know Chad is a gifted person spiritually. He does see things. I know he does, and I've tested him on that, and we have some very special conversations on spiritual matters. But when you start to use those gifts to take advantage of people, I think that's pretty sick, and I think you've crossed the line there. So in February, she's saying she confronted him on what he had done to her in December and what he had been doing to her all along. This is what she's saying, when I finally woke up to the fact that he was using me and using my gifts, I confronted him on his patriarchal energy, which is, in my opinion, abusive energy, and his abuse of me and my gifts and using me. Then he basically sent a text back and said, wow, you really know how to burn bridges. I can't believe you. You don't know me at all.
So a member of Julie's security team who says they witnessed Chad preying on women said Chad was using this doctrine to groom women to get them to do something that normally they wouldn't do, or in other words, give up their creative power to him for his own gain. He was no longer following the creator's plan of agency, but he was trying to get women to do things that would give him more power. He also said he was at a group meeting at Chad's home, which was organized by these women in Rexburg who apparently were interested in polygamy.
Here's my question. I would love, and I know there were some guys at these meetings, but it sounded like there was a lot of women there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I've read elsewhere that it seemed to be more women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they were the ones that hosted Chad at one of these particular events, and he was kind of clinging around them. And the security member said he liked them. He could tell. He said, I kind of sensed in some of those conversations, they were discussing some yucky stuff. I honestly don't know if Chad had conversations with them about those things, but I do know there are little groups of women, different groups that were interested in those really fringe things that are pretty inappropriate and divisive for families. Julie said she was disturbed by Chad rating people as light or dark, saying, I was really disturbed that he was ranking people in the church and also people in his ward. And I think this is a good place to stop, because now we're going to start getting into the end of December and January when everything breaks loose. So instead of doing 5 more minutes of that, let's just end it here. We will be back tomorrow with another episode, possibly an episode about Alec Murdaugh. The grand jury is meeting today, so we expect charges to be announced shortly after.
He gonna have to be put under the jail.
Oh my gosh, dude!
I wonder what's the most charges anyone has ever had. Like, he's got to be up there towards the top.
Look, he's gonna be in Guinness Book of World Records. His mugshot.
Yeah. Person with the most charges ever in their life. Yeah, here he is.
Well, we appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. We're almost at 8,000 subscribers, which is huge. We want to hit that. We want to get one of those little plaques eventually.
Yeah, hit that bell somewhere.
Hit the like and subscribe, hit the bell, share the podcast with your friends who might not know much about this case. We're starting from the beginning. They can get the whole story before January. And again, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
This holiday season, recharge with the Planet Fitness Black Card for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. So instead of fighting a stranger in the mall over a stuffed T-Rex, bring a friend for free and work out on the TRX. Instead of freezing in line for a lame holiday deal, relax in the Black Card Spa with some Hydro Massage feels. Instead of being trapped at your in-laws, escape to any of our 2,400 Planet Fitness locations. Sign up today for the Planet Fitness Black Card. Just $1 down and $24.99 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends November 30th. See Club for details.
The holidays start here at Baker's with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. You could do a classic herb-roasted turkey or spice it up and make turkey tacos. Serve up a go-to shrimp cocktail or use Simple Truth wild-caught shrimp for your first Cajun risotto. Make creamy mac and cheese or a spinach artichoke fondue from our selection of Murray's cheese. No matter how you shop, Baker's has all the freshest ingredients to embrace all your holiday traditions. Baker's, fresh for everyone.